Hi, welcome to Beachview Podcast, where we talk about all sorts of things, but mostly music. Or that's what it's seeming that we're talking about the most. So today we're going to get into
music theory. So,
yeah.
I have somewhat of a background in music theory. I've taken some college courses on it, and I've seen a whole smattering of internet stuff, just reading random stuff and watching random videos on the topic. So, I'm not an expert, but I do know a thing or two, and I figured I would read off some terms and have you guess at what they are. And I thought that would be fun.
Yeah, for reference, I have no background in music theory. I don't know anything about music theory. I don't ever read anything about it, and all I do is just enjoy listening to music. So that's the background. This is going to be interesting because I'm pretty sure I won't know any of these, but I will be super happy if I do know some of them.
Well, I was gonna start off with some really basic stuff, so...
Don't be surprised if I don't know them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, well, let's get into it. A note.
Okay, a note is like, I don't know how to explain it though. So, a note is just like one little piece of music. Like, right? Is it like just like I don't know. It's like what note you're in, right? Like you could be in different notes. This is hard.
This is a rough start.
No, isn't it like the like it'd be like a B note or a D note? Like I don't know what it is though.
Alright, we'll move on. I'll explain everything at the end.
Oh man. Okay.
An interval.
An interval. An interval is like timing in music. It's like when you it's like a piece of music. It's a I don't know. Is it like when you have like a space in your music?
Well, we'll move on. I told you I'll answer everything at the end, so you gotta...
Okay, fine, alright.
You gotta wait.
Alright.
A chord.
A chord. It's like a note, but it's a chord. A chord is like what... Okay, so a chord is like... That's like when you play music in a certain chord, that means... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it because I don't have a full understanding of it.
If you were to sing it, what would it sound like?
A chord? Oh my gosh. I don't even know. I just I think of when people play like a guitar, okay? And they play a certain string at a certain position on the guitar neck thing. That's a chord. No?
Alright, next, a scale.
A scale. Isn't that like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do? That's beautiful.
You didn't sing in tune.
No, I didn't. I can't. Isn't that like a scale? Like
It's
it goes
something
up
you
or
have
down?
to practice. Alright, next, a key.
Okay. Oh man, a key. Okay. Key in music. Okay, I'm thinking is it like a certain scale that you're on? That you're playing in? I don't know.
Alright, is that your final answer?
Well, a key is just it's like a note.
It's like a note. Is everything like a note?
Yeah, I think like a chord, a note, and a key are all different names for the same thing.
Okay, that's definitely wrong.
Okay, well, I know if you're off key, that means you're doing it wrong, right?
Okay.
This is terrible.
We'll move on. Now to get
we'll
on to
moving on.
some specifics and some more advanced stuff.
Okay.
Pentatonic scale.
Oh man, I don't even. It's okay. It's a 5-note scale.
All right, final answer.
Final answer.
All right, a 7th chord.
A seventh chord. That's when, I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
You play on the seventh chord of the guitar.
There's more instruments than a guitar, you know.
That's the only instrument. Okay.
All right. Polytonality.
Polytonality. That's when you're using many different tones.
All right. Next. Microtonality.
Microtonality. That's when you're using a piece of a tone. A small tone. A tiny little microtone. I don't know.
Okay.
It's very hard.
Yeah. Four-chord loop.
Okay, that's when you keep playing the same four chords. You just play it over and over.
All right. Octave equivalency.
Okay, so that's when you're all in the same octave. That's when everybody's singing the same. Or playing the same.
All right. Just intonation.
Just intonation. Just intonation. So it has something to do with, I don't know. It has something to do with your intonation. It's just intonation. Is that when you align, everything's aligned?
In
I don't know.
What sense?
In the tone. Okay, you're aligning in your tone. Now I'm just dissecting the words.
Yes, yeah, that's...
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Suspended chord.
Suspended chord, that is like a chord that it's off on its own. It's like chilling in the breeze because it's suspended. I don't really know what that means except that it's like hanging out there on its own.
All right. Syncopation.
That's when everything lines up. Like everything is, how do you explain this? It's when everything is synced. It's doing it at the same time in the same rhythm and the same pattern, whatever.
All right. A dominant chord.
Dominant chord is the chord that is going to dominate throughout the music.
Chromatic scale.
Ooh, it's a tough one. Chromatic scale. Chromatic scale. Okay. This is where... I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay. Modulation.
Modulation is how the music changes.
Anything
There
more
you go.
specific than that?
It's like when the sound, I don't know how you say this. When the music goes kind of in and out. I don't know how to say that. Higher and lower, it gets higher and lower, and it modulates. Is that right?
All right. And last, polyrhythm.
Polyrhythm. That's when you have a more than one rhythm in one piece of music.
All right. So, are you ready to
I feel like I need
these?
I need to go study. I need to go back to school. Yeah, I'm ready. Tell me. I got them all wrong, didn't I?
Okay. Now, you got some right and some half right.
Okay.
So,
Let's
note...
start with the basics. Yeah, what is a note?
I'm sure you know this, you just have trouble explaining. I put that as half right.
Yeah.
But...
Okay.
So, I got some dictionary definitions for all these using online resources because I don't have a book. And it's easier to use online stuff than to go pick up a music theory dictionary. But a pitched sound, and when it's written on sheet music, it also contains the duration. You know, the specific when you hit and play something on an instrument, one thing, that's your note.
Okay.
If you were to sing, you'd sing that pitch and that would be a note. It's the basic structure of music.
Okay.
Did you know that
it's
one?
One of the little symbols on the sheet music.
Like a quarter note.
Yeah, I could see it. I just don't know how to explain that in music terms.
So an interval you were completely wrong on. It's a good guess, based on the name, but it doesn't have anything to do with rhythm. It's a measurement of the distance between two notes, and it has a number and a quality. So, if you take A and go up to E, those are, you know, 5 letters apart. So that's a fifth. And then based on, like, what kind of thing you're working with then, you give it a number or, like, a quality. So fifths are perfect fifths. Now, this gets really complicated when you start getting into, like, because they're ultimately ratios, and the basis of music is those, like, sound waves, which are, you know, frequencies, and it's the measurement between the ratios of those frequencies.
Okay.
So, like, an octave is a 2-to-1 ratio.
Oh, okay.
So if you play, like, a sound, this is, like, 2 notes at the same time, and they form a ratio, and that's what you hear, and different ones have different, like, consonances and dissonances. I'm rambling trying to explain this.
I'm going like, okay, yeah.
But it's basically when you play 2 or more notes, but that's the like distance and quality,
the interval,
like what type of distance that is. Again, it gets
okay. How would you use it in a sentence? How would you use that? If you're explaining, like if you're like, oh, the interval in that one is
right. So like if you're listening to a melody or something, you could talk about like, oh, I really like that perfect fifth there.
Okay, I got you.
Oh wait,
All
this
right.
is where the you can go to the oh, I don't have an example of an interval, but yeah, you should pull the page up. But it's just any 2 notes.
Okay.
This is more of a like building block of how we talk about and understand music. Is that
okay.
We understand things not just like as the notes we play them, but the intervals, you know, the ratio between them, because they're sound waves and they have frequencies, and you can like double them, or you end up with a lot of math involved in this.
Got you.
And also, this gets complicated because this is how we determine a lot of things about scales and chords and other things.
Interesting. I would not have known that, obviously.
Yeah, speaking of chords, so this is just a unit of 3 or more notes played simultaneously, or just like the unit itself. They don't have to be played simultaneously. They can be played like sequentially, and it still be recognized as a chord. This is also like they make up harmony, which is your you know, like simultaneous sounding things. That part of the music.
Okay, so I have that example pulled up. Let me play it.
Which you've heard these before. I mean, these are the building blocks of Western music. So this is like classical, jazz, blues, pop, and rock.
So it's not just like one thing. It can be.
Well, it has to be.
It could be like.
It has to be at least 3
played
notes.
At the same time. Oh, at least 3 notes. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I get it. Yeah, I got it.
Well, technically, there are also some 2-note chords. When you get into guitar, there's something known as a power chord, which is a chord that omits the third.
Oh. You know there are other instruments than guitars.
Yes, well, and you can play power chords on other instruments. It's just commonly used in guitar because power chords sound better when distorted compared to your usual triads, which is your 3-note chords.
The 3 notes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And most harmony that you're going to hear is tertian, which means they're made in thirds. That's your interval there. So if you look at like a keyboard or something, you go up 3 letters on it. That'll make some kind of chord. You can also make them in fourths and fifths and do all sorts of other wacky things.
This is getting complicated.
Yeah. Music theory, you know, you have your basics that you can teach someone to understand, like, oh, when I'm, like, listening to and writing music, and then you have, like, complicated audio phenomenon, and, like, it gets pretty in-depth.
Yeah.
Okay, so, scale. You got that one right. You're, like, you know, your do, re, mi. That is an example of a scale. The written definition I have is a set of musical notes organized by pitch. And this is really any, like, probably more than, like, 3 or 4, more than, like, a chord.
Okay.
And you just, like, you know, and you usually, like, play these to, like, either, like, help learning an instrument, or, like, you'll solo over, like, a chord with a scale. A lot of solos are built up of using scales, and,
Well, let me play the example. Let's see. Yeah. See? Exactly what I sang earlier.
Well, you were
beautiful.
out of tune for that.
Off. Yeah, I don't have any.
You had the right idea.
Yeah. Okay. That counts.
And the most common scale that we use is a heptatonic scale, which is a 7-note scale. But there are others, like basically any series of notes can be a scale.
I got you. Okay.
Okay, and a key, which I don't remember what you said, but I wrote down you had half right.
Half right.
So, but it's...
What is it?
Similar to a scale, like a key is made up of a scale. I think you said it was kind of like a scale, but...
Yeah. I think I said, like, everything is like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It defines a center called the tonic and the notes used during the, like...
Okay.
And you'll have, like, a key signature, which defines, like, which notes you're going to use for this. You can use notes outside of the key, but, like, it's your,
Okay.
like, when you're playing a song, if it says, like, oh, you know, it's in the key of E major, that's going to tell you what notes you're going to use and what, like, the home note and chord is.
I don't know how people understand that.
What do you mean?
like whenever, okay, so like on TV, whenever I see a band, like somebody's joining the band, they're like, we're playing in this key. Like, I don't know what that means.
It's just the notes you use.
Like, how do they know that?
Well, you study it and you learn it. Like, when you pick up an instrument, you know, you can play anything, but it's like, okay. It's common to...
How is it working? And
yeah, it's common to restrict yourself to a set of notes and to a key to, like... Keys have certain behaviors. Like I said, they have a home note, usually, and it like, restricts you to certain notes, like how... Yeah, like you said, how these are, like, gonna behave and what notes you're gonna use. So you're not just, like, going up, you know, to play with the band and everybody's just hitting whatever notes they want.
Right. So it actually sounds good if you're in the same key. Okay.
Yeah, or when you're, like, writing something, you want this all to be in the same sort of range.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
Got it.
All right, so that was the basic stuff. Now, next, pentatonic scale. You got that right. It's a bit more complicated. But just because of the name, you know, it's a 5-note scale.
Yeah, that's the only reason I knew. Okay, I'm going to open it.
Yeah, it's usually a specific 5-note scale, and the one I sent is a major pentatonic scale.
Okay, yes, that makes sense. And this I can understand.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense to me, yeah.
Yeah, that's, because, I mean, you've undoubtedly heard this in music. It's common to, like, write your melodies in a pentatonic scale, stuff like that. It's a really simple scale. There's not, you know, dissonance in it, not much dissonance in it, so...
Okay.
Alright, and the 7th chord, which you didn't even try to guess.
I had no idea. What is it?
It's a type of tertian triad, which, again, this is your chord. 3 notes built on
Whatever
thirds.
That means.
But you add a 7th to it.
Oh.
In the linked example, those are major 7ths. You've also undoubtedly heard these. So you take your chord and then add the interval of a 7th on top of it.
I get it. I'm listening.
Yeah. And those are...
That sounds nice.
4-note chords.
4-note chords. Okay.
Usually you can omit one of them.
Interesting.
Yeah. You can omit the 5th and it still function as a 7th.
It still makes sense.
Oops, I skipped one.
Oh, which one?
The harmonic series. Do you want to try to guess what that is?
Harmonic series. That is like the series of harmony. Okay. Harmonic series.
Do you not have a guess?
No, I'm just trying to dissect the word at this point.
Okay, well...
I feel like I'm in a spelling bee.
Yeah, so, this one has a video accompanying it.
Oh, hold on, let me open. Okay.
So, it's an acoustic phenomenon that occurs when an instrument makes a sound. So, when a note's played on an instrument, we don't just hear that note. We hear a series of notes above it. The first note's called the fundamental, and the other ones are called overtones. And that is, like, a really foundational, like, part of, you know, when you pitch something, when you make like an instrument and play it, that's what you're hearing. And that video shows like them playing the instrument, and you see the first note, and then you see all the other sounds you're hearing above it.
So this whole thing is a harmonic series.
Yes. And that's again a basis of when you sing a note, that's what you're hearing.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm looking at the video.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's interesting visual.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, barring some specific instances, there are computer generated tones that don't have overtones, every note you hear is actually multiple notes.
Oh.
And if you get in depth, this is probably, I don't know enough to know. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but this is probably why we do other things, make scales certain ways and make certain systems. Our 12-note system is probably partially a consequence of this. It's complicated, and I don't know everything about it.
You sound like you know everything. I don't know everything. I don't know anything.
Right, okay, so polytonality, you said it was 2 or more tones, or multiple tones, which, no.
Yeah.
It's the use of 2 or more keys simultaneously, and the example I gave you is an excerpt from a Stravinsky piece.
Okay, let's see, I'm opening it. Oh, okay. So, tell me the definition again.
So it's the use of 2 or more keys simultaneously.
Oh, I get it. Okay, that's a good example.
Yeah, so, and that's a particularly dissonant example because the ratio between the keys is a tritone, which is a very dissonant interval, but...
Okay.
Yeah, it's not
Cool.
Very common, but you've probably heard it at some point in your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so microtonality, you said small notes, which is kind of correct.
I knew it.
But you can get that from just the name. So it's notes that are between
right.
the notes that we use in a 12-tone equal temperament system, which is if you look at a piano, it has 12 notes before they repeat. That's notes that are between the piano notes.
Oh, okay. So here, let me play it.
Yeah, so the thing I linked is a chord built off of microtones.
Oh, the ones in between.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which,
that's cool.
we call it that because, we have a system that has a specific number of notes, and those notes fall on certain places.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
You could theoretically, because of, it's all sound waves, make a system that has an infinite number of notes.
Ew.
And the reason we don't do that is because that would be, really hard to play. And there is an upper limit to, how many notes you can use. Because at some point, we stop hearing the difference between them. You could have something that's 440.1 hertz and something that's 440.11 hertz. And,
oh, goodness.
yeah, you wouldn't necessarily be able to tell the difference.
What? That's crazy.
There are other, worldwide systems that use things that we call microtones just because they use a different system than we do.
Mm.
And you've probably...
That's so weird.
Yeah, you've probably heard these in songs at some point. I can't name any off the top of my head.
I don't know if I'd be able to... Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if I'd be able to think of an example, but I'm sure. I'm going to listen for it from now on. See if I can identify it.
Well, I think a common use is, during vocals, because, your voice has a really easy means of, moving in between notes. It's not constrained by notes the way, say, a piano or, fretted instrument is.
Okay.
So you might hear someone, sing a note and then sort of fall off of it in pitch, and that'll end up hitting, microtones. 4-chord loop, you were right about that, but that one's pretty obvious. It's a series of 4 chords that were repeated in a song or section of a song.
I did it!
Yeah, this is very popular. This is very popular in pop and rock music, and you've almost certainly heard a lot of songs you've listened to use this method, this style. And the link is one of the most common chord progressions used in a lot of modern music.
Okay, yeah. Definitely sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so octave equivalency. You got that one wrong. You said it's when everybody's in the same octave, but it is something more basic. It's the musical principle that notes that are an octave apart are the same.
Are the same.
You know how we name our notes with letters. You go like A up through G, and then it goes back to A. And those A's are treated as the same. So, and it's an interval ratio of 2 to 1. So, 440 hertz, which we define A as, and then if you go up, double that to 880 hertz, that's an octave, and we call those two notes the same.
The same. Okay.
Did you know what an octave was already?
I just knew it was like when when it goes up, right?
It's a specific interval. We call it an octave because we usually use 7-note scales, and that's an eighth.
It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
And a lot of musical cultures around the world have this principle that notes that are a ratio of 2 to 1, we say, okay, that's the same note. Just, up or down in pitch.
Okay, that makes sense.
Probably because it's a really simple ratio, and also the first harmonic is, I believe, an octave. I don't know the full reason why this happens, I just know that it happens.
Interesting.
Oh, here's a question for you. How many notes do we have in our system? I've already said this, but...
How many notes? Well, didn't you say it's A through G, right? So it's 7 notes?
You're forgetting sharps and flats. What about E flat?
Oh, no!
Poor E flat.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, man.
You're neglecting poor E flat.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's definitely at least 10.
There's 12.
12? Okay, I was close.
Yeah, we use 12 notes.
Very close.
A through G, we use 7 in a scale. Like, that's our most common scale.
7 in a scale. Yeah. And then there's 12 notes. That's it? There's only 12? That's crazy.
Well, like I said, you can use more or less. You can make systems that have different numbers and theoretically infinite. Just at a certain point, you run into... Humans can only hear so many notes, so...
Yeah.
And 12...
Apparently, they all sound the same to
me.
me.
I don't know the historic reasons why we use 12, but at some point, somewhere, we used 12, and that's spread around Western Europe and became the standard.
Interesting. Okay.
Alright, so next is just intonation, which... You didn't get right.
So surprised I didn't get that
It's
right.
a tuning system that uses whole number ratios for its intervals, which I might need to break that down. Like I was saying, your interval ratio of 2 to 1. So the ratios you use between two notes, you sing one note and then when you sing another one, those have a ratio. There's math happening there. The frequencies are vibrating, This one's going twice as fast as the other one.
So it's a whole number?
Right. So what we use is not whole number ratios. We slightly trim some of our ratios because, if you try to use just intonation, which some people do advocate for, this is the most, simplest possible ratios you can get. So when you sing a major third, you're trying to get that ratio. The problem is if you do that, and you're singing a song, or trying to make a system, you run into places where two notes that are supposed to be the same end up out of tune. So we devise systems around that, and our current one does things that makes every note equidistant to each other. Which ends up having the effect of making some of our ratios that we use slightly off of those whole number ratios.
Okay, sure.
Did you get that?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm following, but then I'm going, am I really following?
Yeah, this is a pretty complicated thing. It's got a lot of historical
basically
and musical things tied up in it.
Yeah, so breaking it down, they decided this so that your music ultimately sounds better.
Well, not sounds better, it makes things work better. It's really...
Okay, it works better.
Like a preference thing. Some musicians do advocate for just intonation. but that's harder to like make instruments with. Like, it's easier to sing in that, but then you also run into problems where people end up out of key from where they started because of just intonation. Like, the math doesn't work out if you use just intonation and try to build a system out of it. So we do different things to try to make a system where the math does work, but that changes the ratios you use, and they're not as simple as those like whole number ratios.
Well, this does not sound simple at all.
No, it's complicated.
So,
but like if you were to learn an instrument, like, you know, or basic music theory, you wouldn't learn like anything about just intonations or tuning systems. That's pretty complicated stuff.
That's like more advanced.
Yeah. All right.
I gotcha.
Suspended chord, which you said was a chord that was off by itself somewhere, which isn't true. It's a type of chord. It's a triad chord, you know, which are tertian triads are built in thirds. They're 3-note chords. And instead of playing your third, you replace that with the second or fourth. So this one has an example with it.
What? Okay.
So you've also heard these.
Oh, yeah, let me open that.
It's a C-sus4 chord.
Sus chord. That sounds pretty sus to
Oh
me.
my
Okay,
God.
hold on.
I wasn't going to make the joke.
I did. I did it for you. Okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm listening. Okay.
I know a song, Jump by, is that Van Halen? Uses those a lot.
Oh, Jump, yeah. Wait, I don't know who sings that, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Is it Van Halen?
I want to say, but, yeah, so do you listen to the, example?
We'll go with that.
Yeah,
yes.
so.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Okay. Listening, like, hearing it puts it together for me. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's instead of, normally you have your starting note, then you go up a third, and then you go up a fifth from the starting note to make your chord. And this one you just, you replace the third with a different note.
I got it. Okay.
Alright, syncopation. You also didn't get that right.
Oh, man. I thought I had that one.
No, it's a very specific type of rhythm, not just when things are in sync.
Okay.
And you've also heard this. It's when notes are played on the weak beats or off beats.
Okay.
I got an example of this.
Okay, here we go.
It's a small excerpt.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So, yeah, there are a ton of songs that use this. This has been really popular in, like, jazz and a lot of pop, you know, used it.
I like it. I had no idea that's what syncopation was.
Yeah, it's a specific type of rhythm. It's really common. Alright, dominant chord. And you got this one wrong. It does not dominate a piece. This one actually has two definitions. That's cheating a bit there.
Oh, geez.
So, first one, so in functional harmony, which I'm not going to explain, it's just a type of harmony where chords have certain functions, but chords that are considered unstable and resolve back to a stable chord. So the dominant chords are the unstable one, and they resolve back to a stable chord called the tonic. It also refers to a specific type of seventh chord, which is a major triad with a minor seventh on top, which are called that because naturally, like if you play out in a like major scale, the fifth is a dominant chord in functional harmony, and the seventh built off of the fifth is also called a dominant seventh because of that.
Okay. Let me listen to this. Hold
so the
on,
first one is a chord progression. So the last two chords you hear, the 5-1, that 5's the dominant chord, and then the 1 is the tonic. So it's like a tension and resolution.
Okay, I hear it.
So, and this isn't used as much in like pop music, but you'll still hear it in pop music. It's really, really common in classical.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay, cool.
And
okay,
then the dominant seventh, which is a specific type of seventh chord, which you've also heard before.
Let me open it. Let me hear. Well, I'll tell you if I've ever heard it before. Interesting. I would not have known this stuff at all.
All right, chromatic scale. So this is a scale made up of 12 half steps. It uses all the notes in 12-tone equal temperament. So it's basically a scale that uses all 12 notes that we use.
I definitely got that wrong. Okay, let me open the example. Let's see. Whoa, okay. So it uses all
Yeah.
of
This
them.
usually isn't used in
Okay.
like the pure form, and usually if you're talking about like chromaticism in music, saying something's like chromatic, that usually means it's in like half steps like that. Like they're right
Okay,
next to
so
each
it's
other.
like
and,
the whole
yeah,
thing.
like you go up and down like
Yeah.
a line step by step or something.
Okay.
Alright, and modulation, which
Okay.
I think you know what that is, but you don't have the words to describe it.
Heck yes, I
You
know.
kinda got it. So you said it was like a change, going up or down.
yeah.
So it's a
yeah.
change in tonality or key to simplify in a song. So you're in one
Okay.
key and then you change to another one during the course of the song. And you've also heard these
Okay.
before. I didn't have an example because I'd have to play like a whole song or section of a song. But yeah, this is
Okay.
commonly used in a
I'm
lot
sure.
of like pop music, especially like to build energy or something. In like a final chorus or
Okay.
something, they'll modulate up to
Yeah.
a higher pitched key.
Got you. Okay.
All right.
That makes sense, like to build energy. I got
That's
it.
one way they're used. Sometimes you want to change, like, go from major to minor. Oh, like, that Taylor Swift song. I brought this up.
Oh, yeah. Which one was it?
Oh, God, I don't remember. But it started in minor and the choruses were in major.
Oh, okay. I need to go back and listen to that podcast and see which one
But
you're talking about.
There's tons and tons of examples of, modulations, even in, like,
Gotcha.
modern
Okay.
popular music.
I'm going to notice from now on. And I'm going to make really intelligent comments like, you hear the modulation in this song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, and polyrhythm, which you
Okay.
kind of got right. Half right.
Yeah, I got that
It's
right.
a rhythm that involves multiple parts playing different beats in the same amount of time. So this one has a video with it because
Okay.
Wikipedia conveniently
video?
had a video that went along with it, the audio portion.
I like video. Okay, let me see. Let me play it. Oh. This is like a hypnosis.
But that's just
Okay,
showing
that's cool.
like how those sounds hit. So you take two different so that would be like a 2 against 3 polyrhythm. You have 2 beats and 3 beats and
Okay.
they're hitting like in the same amount of time. That's also commonly used in a ton of
Oh.
music. Ton of music.
Yeah.
Will use a
Polyrhythm.
polyrhythm.
Interesting. Okay, so what grade would you give me on my music theory test?
Oh no, I don't know how many I don't know how many I have, and I'd have to count, and I don't feel like counting, so you pass.
Okay, well, were you surprised that I knew any of them? A
No.
little bit?
I thought you'd actually get like a chord and a note, right?
No. I have never taken a music class. Like, I don't know how I missed this. Like, growing up, I know nothing. Like, I have never done any kind of music. Well, besides, like I said before, the history of jazz, which was more history, not at all like music theory, but that's all I've ever taken. I don't know anything about music. I just like to listen to it. So,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna have to learn because you know how I said one day I want to learn how to play the piano. Like, I need to learn this stuff.
You don't need a ton of music theory to learn how to play an instrument.
Yeah.
And some
That's
of
good.
it you get over the course of playing an instrument.
Yeah. It all comes with experience, I guess.
Yeah. Which I thought you'd know what a chord was, but
I just don't know how to explain it.
yeah.
This is terrible. I thought I would like know basics maybe, but I guess not.
You got
Not at
most
all.
of them. You got most of them.
Okay.
You knew what a scale was. You kind of got what a key and a note were.
Can you imagine me though, like trying to teach this to somebody else? It'd be terrible.
Yeah, well, I just went over some terms. I didn't go over like a full course on it. I don't know if I'm qualified to teach on it either.
Well, no, I think you did a good job. You're very knowledgeable about this stuff, you know? Even though you think you're not an expert, like to me, someone who knows nothing, like
Right,
I think
yeah.
you're very knowledgeable about this.
And you saw how I was talking. I was getting like, oh yeah, there's more complicated parts you can go into. Like, this stuff can get like, there's your basic, okay, I know how to play an instrument and know some stuff about like the theory behind like some of the stuff I'm playing. And then there's like the harmonic series, which is like, this is a fundamental part of playing like music, playing notes.
Mm-hmm.
And it also relates into other stuff of how we structure things. It's complicated.
Yeah, but no, it's interesting, and I always thought it was interesting how like math plays into music. That's not
well, especially with rhythm.
Yeah, like it's just kind of cool. Like I am so bad. Like I feel like I don't have like a natural musical like intelligence at all. Like I can't even, like sometimes like when people are clapping, I have to watch them so that I clap at the right time. You know what I mean? Like I'm so, for real, I am terrible. Like I don't know, but I mean, it doesn't stop me from enjoying myself, but it's just like, I have to watch people clap. It's terrible. I'm sure there are other people in the world like me.
Yeah, well, some of it's learned stuff too.
Yeah. Do you enjoy learning about this stuff? Like, did you enjoy the classes you took?
Yeah, well, that's why, like, because I learned how to play the piano in high school from, like, a class in high school, and, like, learning that doesn't teach you a ton of theory, and that I was always more interested in the theory than, like, actually playing. Like, finding out, like,
oh, really?
Oh, that's why they call this a 5, because the, like, piano book would teach you to play chords, but not, like, why we called them certain things.
Yeah.
And I sort of, like, started independently figuring that out and then doing my own research and taking classes on it. And yeah, this always interested me more than actually playing. Like, I got out of the habit of playing and would always, like, learn more stuff about theory.
Well, that's cool. I mean, if it interests you, that's like it's really interesting because there's so much more, like, obviously, that I learned today. There's so much more to it that I don't know at all. So I would this definitely piqued my interest for sure.
Well, if you want, I can send you some links to YouTube channels that go over some music theory stuff.
Yeah, send them over, and then next time I'm gonna quiz you. I'm gonna learn so much. I don't think I'll ever get to that point, but no, yeah, send them over. I'll take a gander. I like the examples that you gave because that, like, once you explain it and then I hear it, it makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I learned so much today.
All right. Well, that took up a lot of time, surprisingly. So
it did.
I guess we're,
so
ending now.
Yeah.
Anything else you have to say?
I just want to say thank you for imparting your knowledge. And that was actually fun because I really didn't realize how much I didn't know. So it was fun to me.
Yeah, well, like I said, a lot of these are pretty complicated concepts that you like.
Yeah.
Like, even if you were like, oh, I'm gonna learn some basic music theory, you wouldn't get into.
No, it was interesting though. I just had no idea. So thank you for your knowledge and for sharing it with me and to our listeners. I hope they all learned something today.
All right, well, that's been Beachview. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.